Hello, my name is Jordan,
I'm Kingston.
and this is my mom, Tamika Green, and today we're doing our interview on baking and checking. So to start off, tell us a little about yourself, growing up financially, etc.
Okay. Well, I'm Jordan's mom, and growing up, I would say I didn't really know a lot about finances. One of my financial memories I had was my mom did show me how to uh, write checks because right now we don't really use checks a lot because a lot of things are done online. But when I was growing up, when you had to pay a bill, you had to write a check. So that was one of my memories, financial memories of getting some guidance financially. Was my mom telling me, how to write a check.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pretty cool.
Well, to start off today, we're going to ask you 4 questions. We're going to alternate between, I'll do 1 and 3, and he'll do 2 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
So to start off with question 1, what was your very first experience opening up a bank account?
I actually don't remember opening up a bank account, but I know I did because as a teenager I had a job, and in order for them to pay me, it was either direct deposit or back then you would actually get a physical check. And so I want to say maybe I started banking with Chase, and yeah.
Okay. And for the second question, have you ever experienced fraud or sus activity on your account before?
Yeah, so actually, when I was in college, I opened up an account through our credit union at college, and someone was able, some way, somehow, to get money out of my account. The good thing was, since it was a credit union, I just had to file a report, and they were able to give me back that money. I also had a fraud happen on one of my credit cards, but the same process. You file a report, they're able to see, okay, this is not your spending pattern, this is someone else, and I was able to get that money back.
Okay. To carry on with our third question, what do you think budgeting and tracking spending are important for?
So budgeting and tracking your spending is very important because, if you don't budget and track your spending, you'll kind of be like, where did all my money go? But to me, budgeting and tracking your spending is important because it's you telling your money where you want it to go. And sometimes after I do my budget and my tracking, I'm like, man, there's no more money left. But really, that's not the way I try not to look at it. I try to look at it as, no, I told the money where to go, as opposed to me just kind of blindly swiping my card. Every month I tell the money where to go.
I guess to follow up with that, what age did that kind of click for you? Because obviously you're a teenager and you don't really think about those steps. So would you say it happened in college, when you graduated? What age kind of made you want to start tracking what you're doing to help you in the future?
I think when once I had a family, because it became more important that I managed my money well, because I had bills to pay for. I had to pay for where I was living, pay for childcare, for food, all those different things. And so I could no longer just kind of not have a plan. I had to have a plan to make sure all the things that I was responsible for, I have money for them. And that's why budgeting and tracking is important.
Okay. For our last question is, what financial habits do you wish you learned earlier in life?
I do wish I learned, more about credit cards, because I think when I was a teenager going off to college, no, my parents didn't really talk to me a lot about finances, and you get these credit card offers in the mail, and you're like,
trying to go start spending things.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't say I went out of control, but I also didn't learn that, okay, use your credit card, but only use what you can pay back once that bill comes. Because if you can't pay back that bill once it comes, it occurs interest. And that's how debt starts to occur. And so I wish I would have learned that earlier on, because, I did get into some debt, and I could have avoided it if I would have, been more financially aware about credit cards, and just, have credit cards, but also there's a way that you need to be able to manage those credit cards. Only spend what you know you can pay back once that bill comes.
For sure. To carry off of that, a lot of people put money into banks and they just let it sit, but there's also a way that your money can work for you. So what is one way or even two ways that you think you can give advice to the younger generation on how your money can work for you?
Well, like, so I work in education. There's a lot of credit unions. They have like summer savers accounts where they accrue more interest than like a regular saving account. So it's really just, being, looking for savings accounts that are going to give you interest on your money, because the typical savings account in your bank isn't going to give you a lot of interest on your savings account. But I do summer savers, and it's kind of nice because then you have a little cushion of money in the summertime, typically when you want to do more things. And then also I would recommend, like, one of the things we did a life insurance policy where it has a built-in savings account, and it follows the trends of the market in terms of the return of the monies. Or return on an investment. So part of it is for life insurance, but then the other part of it is a savings account, and that's accruing interest. Like I was saying, it's following the market, and because like you guys are young, so you can afford to invest more aggressively than I can, because you're not going to need your money as soon as I would need mine. You since you're younger, you can take more risk. So I would say, just looking for savings accounts or investments like life insurance policies that have a savings account built into it, and where you're getting a return on your money that's following, our the stock market.
Okay. At what age did you start investing?
That's a really good question. Really, I wish I would have started earlier. I think really probably not until my 30s, because I didn't know a lot about investing. Of course, through my jobs, thankfully, I started investing because, most of your jobs, they want you to set up a retirement. So I did set up a retirement and then account as soon as I started working, in my 20s. And so I have my retirement account, and also a lot of jobs have it where you can have, I'm trying to think of you have your retirement, but you can also pay into an additional retirement account. And so I always took advantage of what my job offered me, and I tried to be very aggressive in my saving for retirement. But outside of my job, I didn't really start investing until maybe like my 30s, because I started to realize like, oh, this is really important. But prior to that, I wasn't really taught about like savings, investing, and how you should do it outside of your job. Yeah.
All right. For our last and final question, if there's any advice that you can give to us or the people watching, what would it be in regards to banking, investing, etc.?
Checking, stuff like that.
I would say something simple is, before you spend something, ask yourself, do you really need it? Because I feel like, especially as Americans, we accumulate a lot of stuff. We spend and we really don't think about how do I invest more into my future, so that way, I can create wealth for myself, So it's really just about asking yourself, and I do that to this day before I leave somewhere, even if it's just something simple as a grocery store, do I really need this? Because I feel like even in my home, I'm still working on like getting rid of just waste, that we just buy stuff, for not really a good reason. So I would say, before you spend, ask yourself, is this something I really need? Because I think it's wiser to take that money and build wealth for yourself, build wealth for your family and the next generation, that way, you're able to live a comfortable life, but also you build wealth so you can help others. you know, whether that's your family or people who are in need. You know, my philosophy is it's like we don't just accumulate wealth so that way we can live comfortably. Comfortable is important, and you know, having a nice life is important, but it's also to be able to make an impact on others.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Well, I got one more question actually. It's kind of like a tangent from our topic, but how did you deal with wants and needs in college?
I think that I probably could have did better because actually I think I did well because I think the way I was raised, we were raised to focus on more of our wants. I mean, our needs, I should say. So I wasn't raised in a home where, you know, you had to have the latest. I don't know. I guess it was just a mindset that I was raised like you just focus on what you need, and yeah, you get some of the things that you want. You know, so I feel like I handled it well. I think where it became a challenge was when I saw the credit cards. I was like, oh, I can get more of what I want. You know, yeah.
Okay.
But I think your upbringing has a lot to do with like the type of mindset you have. So, you know, thankfully I was raised in a house where you focused on what you need and you were grateful for what you had, and yeah.
For sure. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for doing this with us today. We're super grateful and we learned a lot from it, and hopefully they did too. So yeah, thank you for watching our video, and yeah.